Hello, my name is Shatima Kemp, and this is my project. It's titled The Effects of Class Sizes on Student Achievement in Academic Courses. Like I said, my name is Shatima Kemp. This is University of West Alabama, Fall 2020, School of Graduate Studies, Student and Master's Degree in Elementary Education program. So the problem and hypothesis that my research project consisted of was that this study addresses poor student achievement. Students who are in bigger class sizes are more likely to find less academic success in academic courses, which lead to negative long-term effects in the end. So here I have shared two charts. The first chart is the completers of Alabama teacher preparation programs over the years starting at 1999, 2000, that school year. And if you look at the chart, you see 2000 to 2001, nothing really happened. But then in 2002, the number of those traditional completers started to rise. And then as it's going further and further, it looks like it's starting to fall. One thing that I could say is probably that it's getting harder to become a teacher. There's more tests, and they get expensive. So the lack of teachers thereof could be to explain for more students having to be piled in teachers' classrooms. Now, the other chart that I have shown shows the staff to child ratio and group size for the STAR Level 5. My school age was about fifth grade. That would be 8 years or older, so about 1 to 20. Now, I was over that number last year, and right now I'm currently under it this school year, and it's a difference that I appreciate. But I wonder how that it makes me think about how that affects overall. And that is why I chose that as my topic. The next chart that I have shown, the first one, is a chart of my elementary school that I currently teach at right now. If you look, starting in 1998, the numbers were under 1,000, but as time has progressed, the numbers for the number of students in our school have risen. We are the biggest elementary school with the most amount of students as of right now. There's multiple apartment complexes, housing communities that are being built around the area that I teach in. So those students will be zoned for Daniel Pratt as well, which makes me think, are the numbers going to go up? Because right now we have about 8 teachers per grade level from first grade to sixth grade. But if more students are going to be zoned for our school, that means that there's going to be more students in the classroom. The second chart that I have shown shows the Alabama State average and the Daniel Pratt Elementary School average for testing. So as you can see, well, that not for testing, but this is the student to teacher ratio. I apologize. So if you look at 2016, the numbers were up way above, pretty kind of far above the Alabama State average. So that means that more students were being put in the classroom with one teacher. So background information on my research project is that Daniel Pratt currently has the most enrolled students for an elementary school in our district. There are numerous housing communities being built that are zoned for our school. There's also a heavy presence of military families because there is a base that is located about 15 minutes from the school. COVID-19 has allowed the number of students who are in the classroom to drop tremendously. With numbers being as low as they are in the classroom, this will allow for this study to gather data about how class sizes have an effect on student achievement. So the number of students that are within the classroom, and just me thinking about, okay, what happened last year when I had over 20 students in the classroom, and even the year before that when I was interning, my math teacher had about 27 students in her classroom, and she oftentimes reflected on how that affected her. So even me thinking about that, I can think about, okay, let me see how class sizes have an effect on student achievement. So best practices for my project, or how I connected this, is part of the socio-cultural approach to education. Through this, one thing that I focused highly on was the functionalism part, that school is responsible for socialization. And that's something that we heard a lot throughout this pandemic, is that my child needs to socialize, my child needs to do this, which is true, but we have to keep in mind guidelines and we want to be safe for the educators. But school is responsible for socialization. This is where students are able to get outside of their box, meet diverse students, learn about different cultures, learn about each other, and just learn how to socialize, how to talk to people, how to not talk to people. And school is responsible for this because it allows such a broad pool of students, a broad pool of people to be in one area where you can get to know others. And also part of this approach to education is a conflict theory and symbolic interrelationism, which is social interaction within the classroom. Again, students being able to be around a diverse group of students where they can learn from each other and learn even about themselves, being around other people. So collaboration is something that is very important within this group project, because one thing that I learned is that we can learn a lot from each other. So I learned how to study with other people, and that even studying with other people helps me more. Me being able to talk something out to another person so that I can hear myself say it, or they may have a perspective on it that I do not have, and that may help me, or whatever I say may help another person. And I feel that is beneficial to even students in younger grades. So, turn and talk, partner work, group work, anything that these kids can do where they can work together. Having a smaller amount of students in the classroom, I feel, can allow for more meaningful conversation to be had, without a lot of distraction or a lot of unnecessary conversations being had inside of that group. You can, if it's a smaller group of people, you can hear, most of the time hear, like I can walk around and I can kind of eavesdrop on conversations that are going on. And it's easier for me to do that with less amount of students in the classroom. And so them benefiting from collaborating with each other is something that can affect this project. So the action plan, what's going to happen within this research? So the procedures are students will be enrolled in classroom at Daniel Pratt. Researcher will allow for 1 week window to allow for traditional students and virtual students to settle into their learning environment. Like I said before, there are 8 teachers per grade level. 2 groups of children from grades 2 through 4, where the number of students in each class is 15 or below, will receive instructions in a before, during, and after lesson plan format. Lessons can allow for small group, one-on-one, peer helper, etc. 2 groups of students from grades 5 through 6, where the number of students in each class is 20 or above, will receive instructions in a before, during, and after lesson format. Lessons can allow for whole group instructions and approved strategies that are feasible for the number of students in the class. So internal and external validity. All students will be tested to measure proficiency. Each time students take the test, it will measure their proficiency. Having enough students throughout the study will make up for any absences that we have due to being absent or having to quarantine because of COVID-19. My sampling method and sampling description. This study will consist of all students enrolled in grades 2 through 6. That will take the performance series test. The performance series is a test that the students can take in fall, winter, and spring, and it measures their growth. So it allows for educators to review their data. We can review it as a whole or as individually. It shows their strengths and weaknesses across grade levels. The research will be conducted through a mixed method study using performance series results to collect data from the students. A sample of 50 students from each experimental group will be selected through random sampling. Now, collaborative efforts with other teachers across grade levels participating in the study will use the before, during, and after format for their lesson plans, and teachers will receive a handout that shows information regarding different things that can be done in each phase of the lesson. So just keeping in mind that each student will take the performance series test. No students are accessible during this study. Students will be given a number from 1 to 50. and all students will be required to take that test, and the other people in the other grades will be taking something else. So this study will allow for data to be shown of how class size affects student achievement. Throughout my second year of teaching, as well as observing in numerous classrooms, I understand from my own perspective the difference that it makes being the facilitator of the classroom. Many engaging experiences cannot be done in a classroom with many children. To see student achievement growth, I would like to see that students grow in their performance series results. I can compare data from the previous year when I had more than the recommended amount of students within the class. So reflection on my project is due to COVID-19 restrictions and guidelines within the classroom, there is not a change that I will make to my original plan. I feel that this year will really allow for educators to zone in on best teaching practices with their students. There is so much that goes into this topic than just the number of students in the class. There is money involved and many other things involved in decisions to how many students are in one class. I honestly hope that education becomes a priority and that things like class size can be manipulated or put to a way that is beneficial to both the students and the teacher. And these are my references. I'm sorry I went over my time, but thank you.